Hey, good afternoon to you. Mark Suttoth, HurricaneTrack here. Wednesday now, the 15th of October, 2025. How very good to see everybody out there today. Tragedy here at the office in Wilmington, North Carolina. I'm wearing a hoodie. This is horrible. Horrible. A horrible turn of events. Chilly here today. I hate it. I like summer weather. But oh well, enough about me. Let's talk about over the next several minutes here this purple circle and my headline of the next area to watch. Lots of people talking about it more and more, and rightfully so. I'm going to address it, and I'm going to leave you with a little AI-generated video, some AI slop for you, some humor, kind of emphasizing the point about deterministic models. Stay until at least the very end for that. You don't want to miss it. All right? Let's get started, though. The real-life stuff before we go to the computer-generated nonsense. Our friends up at Fox Weather talking about the situation in Alaska. And again, really appreciate my friend Tim Bruno tagging me on the Twitter yesterday. Really, really bad up there along the western coast of Africa. Record-setting floods showing, and I mean, I keep emphasizing this, and I want to make sure people understand impacts. A typhoon off the coast of Japan moved up into the jet stream, as it were, and got swept into the remnants of it to western Alaska. Of course, it wasn't a typhoon up there, but it doesn't matter what we call these things. That is the result. Very, very impactful flooding, lives lost, lives ruined, a lot of property damage, and it's really good to see the coverage down here. Fox Weather, of course, in New York City, they talking about it. And rightfully so, because this was a very impactful event for our good friends up there in western Alaska. All right, so just remember that about these systems, that it's all about the impacts, and even something far, far away can give us substantial impacts. And we've seen that a lot this season with these hurricanes that have moved through this corridor right here, and all the waves that they have sent toward the East Coast, and all the homes that have been falling into the ocean. There's the whole debate about whether or not they should have been there in the first place. That's not for us to decide necessarily now. The point was, and the point is, you can get impacts from something far, far away. Now, luckily, bringing this all back to the here and now, Lorenzo tropical storm out here, not going to generate big enough waves to even worry about. It's far out over the open Atlantic here, so we don't have to worry about that. And we don't have anything else on the 7-day outlook yet, but I think that's coming eventually. In the East Pac, 40 and 60 at the 2-day and 7-day time frames respectively, that something might try to develop here. This is East Pac Invest Area 91. We just shorten it to 91E because we lazy, right? But East Pac 91, the Invest Area, going to hug the coast of Mexico down here and bring impacts by way of heavy rain along the periphery of that system. I don't see the modeling bringing this one up into the desert southwest. We'll put an X up here, northwest Mexico, and then into Arizona and vicinity. I don't think that's going to happen. We'll watch, though, to be sure. All right? So let's take a look at everything on the True Color satellite animation. Look at that. I'm recording this video at a few minutes until 4, and already the Terminator. Yes, that is what that is called, the line between day over here and night over here. That's called the Terminator. And that is now quickly approaching. And that shows you it's fall because it's getting dark earlier and earlier. Anyway, that's the area we're going to watch. We'll talk about this more in a minute. Can you find Lorenzo? Where is it? Is it that? Nope. Is it that? Nope. It is that. And by the time I'm all done with this video and it's online and people start to watch it, I think this will be rendered post-tropical. It'll be done. I think they will do their last advisory. This is the leftovers. I mean, if you want to call it leftovers, it's pretty healthy out here. Of our double barrel storm system that caused all the yuckiness along the East Coast and Mid-Atlantic recently. Elsewhere, Atlantic Basin nice and clear right now. Caribbean, very clear. The Gulf also nice and clear. And then we do have a little disturbance down here we have to watch, again, as that moves in this direction over the coming days. So let's take a look at what some people are saying over on the Twitter. This is from Ryan Maui. I like this. He does these Wednesday, well, he does like morning and evening, like after dark, whatever, I like that kind of stuff. And he's got a Substack here if you want to check that out. Yeah, the models are starting to perk up, and all of them. The global models, the regular numerical weather prediction, in other words, the old fancy tried and true numerical, NWP as we call them, numerical weather prediction physical models, and I guess perhaps more importantly, because they're starting to really gain traction here, these AI generated models from Google DeepMind and the Euro AIFS, the Artificial Intelligence Forecast System, starting to highlight, I mean, you can see it as well as I can, not making this up. There it is. I mean, maybe the models are making it up. After all, this is out into the future. But all kidding aside, this area is climatologically favored this time of year. I mentioned this yesterday. This is where we would naturally look this time of year. This is what gave us Wilma. And then I could go on and on and on over the decades of big hurricanes that have developed late in October, mid to late October, even into November. Michelle, back in 2001, late October, early November. That one cut across Cuba and went out across the Bahamas, Category 4 at one point. Yeah, we can get some really big, powerful hurricanes, large size and intense, in this neck of the woods. And most of the guidance, whether it's the traditional numerical weather prediction or these new AI-based models, which I honestly don't know much about how they work. We're still working on putting together a special video just about that. Everything seems to be piling on, suggesting that in about a week, so it's going to be a long process, we're going to have to watch for something developing. So what will we be watching? Well, I'll show you. Glad you asked. So let's go back to the satellite. There it is right there. I circled it earlier, and I'll circle it again. That is our tropical wave, debopping, is it bebop? It's bebopping, right? Hopping along, whatever, across the main development region. You see, I try to get descriptive and cute with this, and I blow it. It's moving along in the main development region, there you go, at a fairly low latitude, not much in the way of magnetism up here, so to speak, to draw it north. It's not really magnetism, but you understand the analogy there. So it should stay pretty far to the south as it moves west over the next several days. There's no troughs out here. It itself is not large and filling up the atmosphere, so it would get tugged by any kind of a weakness that might be out here. So it's going to run across a pretty low latitude until it gets into the Caribbean. And that is why the models here are starting to pick up on development later down the road. So this is what it looks like on the vorticity signature, and I like this because we have something to track. There it is right there. So each day I'm going to save this image. I'll just leave this tab up, and then when I do tomorrow, hey, this work is done for me. I'll be ready to go with this tab. We will compare basically 24 hours between the two, and this was at 15 UTC today, and we'll see what it looks like at 15 UTC tomorrow. That is our seedling that could possibly end up being something rather significant, maybe in this area right through here in about 10 days or so. Modeling, all kinds of them, starting to suggest that, so we can talk about it with a fair amount of confidence. And I want to bring that point very clear here. The Climate Prediction Center and their global tropical weather hazards outlook thing, they're highlighting this region. Other people in the meteorological community are really talking about it. We know climatology favors this area. We've seen, and that's part of history, we've seen other historic events happen from a tropical wave that moved into that area. So we just know, okay, it is plausible. We're not looking at some phantom one model showing it, whatever. All right, so I'll go through that and show you as we round out the last third or so of today's video. All right, so let's first take a look at the Euro. So this is today's 12Z Euro at the 850 millibar part of the atmosphere. And in case you are brand new to the channel, that is 5,000 feet up, and that is looking at like this little area right here. This is the 850 millibar analysis. This is a product, a satellite image, and it kind of shows us the energy, the vorticity down at the near the surface at 5,000 feet up. And then this is practically the same thing. This is 850 millibar, height of the atmosphere, 5,000 feet. and it is showing us that vorticity, the cyclonic vorticity, right? And we're looking for something like that. That's the 91E in the East Pack as an example. Actually, let me broaden the map out, then we can just see everything. So there is the reflection. Well, if I circle it with something we can see, there it is. That is what we're watching. That right there is, let's go back, this little piece of energy right here. See? They match. So those are the same. So here it is on the euro right there. So let's move this through time, and we're going to take it out to exactly 1 week. Da-da-da-da-da. There it goes. 96 hours, 120. You still see it? It's right there in case you lost track of it. In the Eastern Caribbean, keep moving this through. There's day 6. I'm sorry, day 6. Poor Mark, lost track of time. There's day 7. Parked in the vicinity of the South Central Caribbean Sea, south of Jamaica, just southwest of there. Now, let's zoom in to the Western Atlantic extent, and we can see this better. Pretty sharp wave axis in here. You can see the turning of the wind barbs. So there's the piece of energy right there, and the euro on top of it. This is the operational at 1 week out. GFS, we'll just keep this extent, does practically the same thing out to a week. It's a little bit more spread out overall, but there's the vorticity signature on the GFS. Big trough sitting up here, more cold air coming in, yuck. But then you can see the ridging right here to the north of our system, helping to keep it down there, keep it squashed in the Caribbean, at least on this particular run, 12Z, today. Right? We know this can change. It will change. The weather's changing every single second. Of course it is. So now I want to show you something that's really, really important. Okay? And then we're going to kind of wrap things up and head towards my cute little AI production that hopefully will drive home an important point. Use comedy, and in this case AI-assisted comedy, and hopefully it'll solidify that point. So when we are talking about deterministic models and even long-range ensembles, anything about, and it's just debatable, right? Different people have different, some people say 3 days, some people say 5, some people say 7. My general sense of things that anything beyond 120 hours really starts to get scattered in terms of an end result, especially when you're talking about a deterministic outcome. And that is exactly what this is showing. This is a deterministic, this is like black and white, right? This is model is saying, okay, on this day, and this is day 10, by the way, on the GFS from the 0Z run overnight, 10 days out. It's a deterministic, like flag in the sand. This is what it shows. I am saying the GFS, this is what's going to happen. You understand that? So that's what that means, deterministic. It's not probabilistic. You don't see probabilities on here. It's literally saying, here's what the weather's going to be like on this day, 10 days out. Now, let's look and see what it showed at 18Z yesterday. Let's just go back 6 hours. So this is the previous 6 hours run. This is the previous one before that. This is the one before. Oh wow, look at that. That's the one before that, right? That's the one before that. And you see it's just jumping all around. You see that? And so the point is there's going to be a lot of different solutions. These are just different runs, each 6 hours apart, because there's just so many variables. Once you get out to 10 days, 5 days, all right, and even that with small features in the atmosphere, relatively speaking, like a hurricane, shoot, even 12 hours, especially close to landfall, a lot can happen. Think about Charlie as an example here. Way back in 2004, was coming up. A lot of people thought, oh, it's coming into Tampa. And within just a few hours of landfall, it deviated and came into Charlotte Harbor. That's a close enough approximation anyway. And that was just a few hours, like less than 6 hours, right? And yeah, so trying to figure something out 10 days in advance, forget it. That is why the ensembles, going back to this, can be helpful in determining, all right, how many of those models there with all that what-if stuff show something, and quite a lot. So the signal is there. Now we just have to see, can we start to translate that signal into something actionable and useful. And right now, it's just noise in the future. I like that. Models are just noise from the future. So I will leave you with this nice little piece of advice from our dearly beloved good friend Bob Ross.
Now, you smart people out there know not to be posting these deterministic models that show a hurricane heading for Florida. Just remember this little note here, and we'll all stay a little calmer.
And that's the important part of this, is we will all stay a little calmer, because there are a lot of people that really get upset about this when they see somebody posting a singular graphic, a deterministic model, 2 weeks out with a big hurricane parked somewhere. A lot of people do really get a lot of anxiety over it, and we need to respect that. You know, and you can say all you want about, this is not a forecast, subject to change. I'm trying to use this as a teaching moment, and there's a lot of context around this. Of course, stuff can be taken out of context. You can literally take a single frame from all that I've done here today and frame it up that Mark says so-and-so. I get that. But point is, as we wrap it all up, we do have something to watch. We know that. We know it's climatologically a favorite area where it probably is headed. And third, we do have quite a bit of ensemble support as well as deterministic support, as wild card as it may be, far out into time. But beyond that, we just don't know. So we'll see. So hopefully that little Bob Ross AI thing, isn't it crazy that we can even do that? I'm surprised that his estate, or whatever the Bob Ross Incorporated, allows OpenAI to have that. But they do, and I shared it. So hopefully it helps to stick the point to you. Watch this. We'll stay on top of it. You know I will. And we will see how it evolves over the coming days. All right? Thanks for hanging out with me and my friend Bob Ross there. We do miss him, don't we? I tell you what, I got the Bob Ross channel on downstairs almost 24/7 because it's just so peaceful, and I like watching him do those paintings. But anyhow, you guys have a good rest of your Wednesday. I am Mark Sudduth. I'll talk to you again tomorrow.